Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Ernie C, the Gap Tooth Genius, and this is episode 147 of the Keep Grinding, the podcast. And I'm here, sports creator, sports journalist, co-host of In the Huddle, Trevor Horn, Horn Hive. Sir, welcome to the pod. Dude, we're live now. We're live. What's up?
Chilling, man. That's awesome.
It's a cool little intro, huh?
Yeah.
It was off the fly. Everything's off the fly. I have no notes. I have no notes. I just
Nothing.
kind of go off of it, bro. I see you brought notes.
Episode what?
147.
When me and Rob were on, what episode was that? Like 12?
12. Dude, that's okay. So when we were talking about you coming in the house, I forgot all about those.
Yeah.
Those early episodes were, man, on the laptop, just talking to the laptop. We had no mics.
This room was a lot darker back then.
Definitely.
I think you had the Kobe stand up in the corner.
Yeah, we still have it somewhere.
Yeah, but it was a Kobe stand up, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The house smells better. It smells like a woman's touch in here.
It's really elegant. They're real neutral colors. And shout out to my wife. She's
Yeah, for sure. Hey, congratulations on the wedding. Congratulations on the honeymoon. It looked like it was an absolute
I lost my wedding ring in the lake that we went to go swim with the turtles and shit.
You would.
Dude, it was horrible. I felt it, and I told her, I feel like my ring's coming off. She's like, oh, I'll be fine, And I didn't have any pockets, and, we're swimming, having fun, and we're snorkeling, and I just see the go all the way down the bottom. And I was told I couldn't go down there and try to go get it
I
because...
don't even wear mine anymore.
Dude, that's a great idea.
Well, the problem was about 7 or 8 years, 2018 or something. I got this weird reaction, allergic reaction to something, and this knuckle swelled up at one point, and it's never came down, or I might just be fat. I don't know. So,
Dude, that's why I thought I was gonna be able to kind of just get through it, and my fat ass finger would just keep it. But once the water came and the slime, didn't stand a chance, man. But I wanted to thank you for coming on, bro. This is something that we've been talking about for a while. It's
I wonder what we're talking about.
Dude, this is the best setup I've ever done and Keep Grinding the podcast history, man. But first, I want to just thank you, bro, because you know what? Before we talk about wrestling, what you do for the local sports community, love seeing you do it. I have a small, I'm in it just a little bit. You know what I mean?
Section championship coach. Stop it.
That's a
You're B Varsity All Area Coach of the Year. Stop
I am.
Stop it.
Is that
you're like Andrew Luck. You're a general manager.
Dude, that's crazy, right? I don't know how many program directors we have, but I tell Selby all the time, dude, I'm the only GM in the world for you, dog. Got you.
How about, not a lot of people know this, but I believe that Brett Selby has the record for the longest gap between head coaching jobs
ever.
From being the guy that preceded Gino LaCava at Garces.
At Garces, yeah, definitely.
And then waiting 30 years to take over the Foothill Girls program. I don't think there's ever been a gap larger in 2 head coaching stints, and he's done some great things. Obviously, he was part of that 2018 staff that you guys won that state title with.
Part of that Valley team too. That he was Brett Selby is.
He's the '88 team. Yeah.
Oh, that too, and just with us when we had, he was one of my right hand men, and dude, Selby, he has forgotten more about basketball than I ever know. And just to have a Yoda like that, it's helped me so much to grow as a coach. And now kind of reverse roles, as in let me kind of do all the heavy lifting, and you just coach it up. And you coach it. I tell them to you, coach. I am no dog in the race. I'm here for the kids. Make sure your job is easier.
But your social media platform for the girls, it's phenomenal.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
You do a really great job of promoting the girls in the way that they should be promoted.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing with them is I want to make sure that they, I guess, have the best, but just the way we, like you said, we showcase them, because it's about them, and that's our biggest thing. It's about them. I tell the coaches all the time, it's about the girls, though. We got to showcase the kids wherever they're doing. They were supposed to send us, I think Monday will probably show. They all went to prom, so I'm sure they gave it to us on Monday. They'll run it a little bit.
Your
Monday.
seniors don't ditch the Monday after prom.
Oh, I'm sure they do, man. But you know me, I'm kind of just.
But your seniors, they're already moved on to college and stuff, so that makes sense.
Definitely.
Yeah, you got all the juniors and the freshmen, and that's cool, man.
Did you know, real fast, one more thing? We'll go back to why we're here. Did you know Brett Selby is the all-time record in decathlon at Cal State University or Cal State Bakersfield?
That dude's a decathlete?
Yes, dude.
Wow. I did not know. I didn't know he was a track guy.
Because Mariah Portis is a great track athlete at Foothill, right? And we're kind of just showing her, like, we're looking at these records for women's in Cal State, just talk about college in a year or
Is
so.
she the sprinter that just took second on Friday at Patriot Games?
Yes.
Dude, that was an incredible. Sorry, I don't mean to.
No,
But
please.
that girls 100 on Friday at the Patriot Games at Liberty was phenomenal.
Awesome.
And they're all young.
Yeah,
It's really
she's
fun.
just a junior, but
Yeah.
she's
The
still.
Stockdale girl, Nevaeh Howard's only a sophomore.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy how fast she is, and she honestly doesn't even know it yet. She's still learning how to accelerate it and just enhance what her skills.
Dude, she was blazing. It was rad.
Yeah, dude. Just seeing her on the basketball court, bro, she could go from one free throw line to the other like that. Just when she's hounding somebody, just when we have a turnover, and she's going basket to basket, and kids probably think they have that breakaway layup, and she'll come in and just snatch it. It's beautiful to see. But yeah, Selby is the all-time leader decathlon in Cal State history.
That's crazy.
And you'll never know it. And he hates.
Why would he?
Dude, he does not let us know what his birthday is. Oh, he hates that too. He's like, I don't want anybody to know. What? I don't want a gift. I'm like, dude, this is already a joke. I'm like, you don't have many left, Selby. We need to know.
I'm telling you, I'm about ready to take that off, those notifications off Facebook.
Oh,
because I just don't care.
Oh
anymore.
yeah, dude. Yeah.
I just had one on Tuesday, and I'm just like, nah.
Happy late birthday, sir.
I don't. Again.
How's it feel, man?
What, to be in my late 40s?
Yeah, how's it feel to be in late 40s?
Well, it all hasn't fallen off yet, so we're good.
Awesome. What hasn't fallen off, wrestling is back.
Dude.
And I'm glad you're
such a way. And
welcome to this world.
I appreciate it because it's like, obviously it was this time last year where I was just, and I've told the story to you and the other wrestling guys, is that like I stopped watching pro wrestling in the mid 90s. It was like, WrestleMania 10 was probably the last one. And I remember it was on an Easter Sunday. So whichever WrestleMania in the mid 90s was on Easter Sunday, that was probably the last time.
I think that's the Brett versus Owen match.
It was outdoors, stadium outdoors. I just remember the crowd was huge. So it wasn't 9, obviously, because that was Vegas.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was sometime after that. And I just kind of gave it up.
It was Madison Square Garden. I know that because the first 10, 20, the first 1, 10, 20 was always at Madison Square Garden.
Then it had to have been like 9, 11, or 12
Okay.
But anyway, it just died off. And then, after high school, I went into the Air Force. And I tell the story for a reason because I used to have this boss, single guy in his mid-30s. He didn't have any redeeming personality qualities other than he was just an hilariously dry humored guy, but he loved to just sit and he lived in a dorm room because he didn't want to go get an apartment or a house because he knew that each base was just another spot to get him to retirement. But he used to come in, he was the morning, so we worked in the dining facility at Mount Home Air Force Base in Idaho. That was our jobs. I mean, I know people are like, you were a cook in the Air Force. Yeah, I still have the same benefits as everybody else.
Thank you for your service, by the way. That's great.
No,
you got this. You got it.
Didn't do much.
Hey,
but
man, you still serve.
He had the morning show. He was a supervisor of the morning shift, and then we'd go home, take a nap, and then I ran the. I didn't run, but I did a lot of the ordering, receiving in the storeroom for the dining facility. So I would prep all the stuff they would need for every meal, and I had a desk, and I swear I knew every Monday and every Friday he'd come in, and I'd leave my keys on my desk, and he would come in because he didn't have a car either at that point because he just came from Korea. And if you guys know about especially Air Force reassignments, if you want to step up, you got to go to Korea, Turkey at one point for a 1-year enlistment. So he came back, he had nothing. I know this is all minutia stuff.
No, this is great.
But he used to come, and I'd always leave my keys on my desk because I knew he'd come in and be like, hey, Horn, can I borrow your car? And I'm like, why do you even ask? The keys are literally there, and we go through this act twice a week, every week for the last 6 months. What do you want? And you take it and you go to the shopette, which is the convenience, the Sully's, if you will, the gas wars or whatever. And he'd go and buy himself an 18-pack of Miller Lite cans, and then he'd bring me back a 6-pack and throw it in the back of my car and leave it in my trunk. And he did this because you know what he was doing? He was watching Raw every Monday.
And having an 18-pack.
And drinking an 18-pack, and he loved it. And I go, dude, you're in your mid-30s. What are you doing watching this fake stuff?
Yeah.
It's not real. It's not real. And, and I was that guy for decades. And then last year, obviously, I had a little bit more downtime. Just sitting on the couch one night. And I'm just flipping. It had to have been a Friday night because before Netflix, Raw was on Fox, right?
USA.
It was on USA too.
Yeah.
So it was
Raw was on USA.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it was a Monday Night Raw. So I remember it was the night of my birthday last year, April 22nd. It was a Monday, so I was right. It was the day before I got fired.
Oh, damn.
And wife's asleep, kids asleep, dog's asleep next to me. I'm just sitting on the couch. I'm flipping. I got Hulu, so I'm getting all the way down. Nothing. Monday Night Raw. Yeah, I'll give it a chance.
Damn.
And I remember the first person I saw, Ludwig Kaiser. He came out.
Dude,
and he
such
did
an
it.
underrated
This
guy.
was Raw after Mania.
Man,
This was Raw.
That's the
but
Raw to
I
catch.
didn't know. In my mind, I was like, oh, Raw after. Because I knew that WrestleMania had happened because of my social media feed.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything. I didn't even know who Cody Rhodes was.
Yeah.
You know, The Miz. Everybody knows The Miz because he broke the mold. Everybody knows Cena and The Rock and whatnot.
Of course.
So I'm just sitting there and I'm like, damn, I could see why this is all right.
Yeah.
And it almost became a healing mechanism and something I could gravitate to in a time last year when my life was in flux professionally.
Yes, definitely.
My life at home has been great for the last 10 years.
Shout out to the Horn Hive.
Yeah, no kidding, man. At home, holding it down while I'm here.
Of course.
But I texted you that night.
Yes, I remember.
I texted Adam Waybright. Found out later, Miles Boyens. Miss you, buddy. Wish you were not in Phoenix, but you were still here. From, hometown sports. And then my buddy, John Parker. No offense, but John has been my biggest muse. And I leaned on you guys. How much?
A
lot.
You're
Because I'm a journalist, what did I do? I asked you
Ask a question.
1,000
Yes.
damn questions.
Yes, you
Because I
did.
just wanted to know. And I really just got engulfed. Like right away. I called my father-in-law and I said, I'm so sorry for ever talking crap. Because this is life.
It's art, man.
It is a
It's an
beautiful
art, bro.
art. It's cinema. It's live cinema with some masculinity, or some
100%.
brutality, some angst, that aggression that we as sports fans gravitate to. But it was funny because I was on Greg Kerr's show on Tuesday. He's like, Kyle Kerr also, his son is a big wrestling head. So, he and I talked about it. And I was like, listen, you can have a 49-0 football game and you're bored out of your mind and it's a running clock, you turn off, you go away.
Yep.
You could have, a 12-0 baseball game, Major League Baseball game. You could have that Cavs, who are they playing, the Pistons, that 50-point game where you're just like, it's a playoff game and I spent $300 on these tickets and this is all I get?
That's all you
pay
get.
$300 for a Raw or SmackDown or a PLE or whatever it is, and you're getting your money's worth from start to finish.
It's
just like Friday Night SmackDown, and I know it's a SmackDown after Mania, but you come out and spoilers, turn it off for the next 2 minutes.
please.
All right, I'm gonna talk about Friday Night SmackDown. If you haven't seen it yet, it's probably the best SmackDown I've ever seen.
I missed most of it. Damn, I was
you
working.
saw the main event.
Yeah, of course.
But
I always try to catch the gist of it.
But you start out with Cena and then getting RKO'd by Randy Orton that was
Yes.
sitting underneath. Have you seen the video of Orton? He's in all black in the hoodie and he ties it up. He acts like he's one of the ring workers
Yeah,
and he slides in right before the match. And then you start with that and then you end with probably the best tag team ladder match in non-PLE history. It was Montez and the Street Profits. That dude needs his own singles contract.
Yeah, no,
because that dude
we've
is
seen it for
a
years,
high
dude.
flying, and then the prosthetic leg.
That
was TV.
You see the POV from the fan? Like,
Yes,
he's like,
it was
great,
it was
bro.
so tight.
Yes,
and
bro.
then that was it the moonsault over into all?
Montez Ford has been one of the. He's appreciated, but he's been one of those guys like, and I loved not Dawkins. I love Dawkins too, man. But Ford's gonna have his own run, and
Dawkins'
it's gonna be nice.
spear off the ladder was like that's Mania type stuff, and they did it on free TV.
I thought that was gonna be on Mania. That was like the word.
Dude, that thing was so
that was the word.
amazing. But then, is Montez better than his wife?
Oh man,
That's
dude,
all- I know.
that's up to Seth and
Bianca
Becky
Belair
too.
is
You
the-
know, like
yeah.
that's something that's. It's funny to say, like we never had these discussions before back in the day. Now
Because
we know what
kayfabe is, they're breaking the cage. Honestly, for me, and we'll get into this.
Yeah.
Is Wikipedia. Every
Oh,
time
yeah.
I don't know anybody, and I go through their
YouTube
whole-
is such a great thing for the past. Now I catch myself. I've always watched shoot interviews, but as a grown man, it's a little more different. Like, it's a war pro, bro. It's like,
you know what got me through last summer was having a Peacock subscription
Oh,
and watching every I've probably watched every Mania now.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I've gone back on Peacock and just thrown it on in the middle of the day and just watched it.
oh yeah,
Thrown it on at 10 o'clock at night. You know, and fast forward through a few.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's going to be some, you know, Mania matches like, yeah, those guys are long gone. I don't even know who they are anymore. But, like, if I get a Stone Cold or if I get a, you know, a Heartbreak Kid in there, I'm like, I'm stopping. I'm watching that.
oh yeah.
Yep.
Did you see that? You know, Bret Hart and Stone Cold just got inducted for their match at 13, WrestleMania 13, which was it's kind of like, it's well known. It was a horrible
Stupidest bust ever, but
yeah, it was a horrible card that night, but that
match.
was the pinnacle. And I remember watching it as a kid, dude. Like, I been watching this. I honestly have not missed much since I was 3 or 4 years. I was infatuated with Macho Man. I was infatuated with Hogan, NWO, Kevin Nash, which is so crazy, dude. Eric Bischoff FaceTimed me during my honeymoon.
What?
Yeah, because we're part of this little podcast community, and all my boys were there, and like, that was like, I'm a mark, dude. So just seeing him like just FaceTime us and just like, oh, I hope you guys got a good time, get fucked up and all that, you know. That's the guy I seen. Like, I seen when Vince went heel, and you see when Brett and Pillman, even with Brian Pillman, dude, and like, you see, again, it's covering, like you said, with Solo, Brian Pillman was a damn great football player.
Yeah.
Most of these guys are just superior athletes, and it's crazy. Like you said, just wrestling's always been a constant in my life as well. Just no matter what I'm going through.
Oh, it's never leaving my life.
It's been
here
there,
for
bro.
Good. It is here for good, especially. I know we're jumping all over the place.
Oh, we could.
but, like,
We could.
I think what I realized was, so back in March, I went to the PLE for AEW down at Crypto or whatever they call it now. And I realized then, I was like, I know Edge and I know Ambrosi, you know, obviously they go by AEW monikers now, but I was like, I didn't know any of the other guys or women, and I just, like, is it Tori Stone?
Tony Storm.
Dude,
yes.
that match was
Yes,
phenomenal.
yes, Tony Storm
There
was-
was so much about that PLE or paper. Well, they're technically
Yeah, I think it's
still
pay-per-view still.
pay-per-views. Which is stupid because I can't go back and watch it unless I pay $50, and I'm like, I'm not paying more money to watch something that I watch live.
They're still on that old, which is cool, and not everybody has a streaming deal.
But a week after, break off the pay-per-view and just put it on a platform.
Yes, 100%.
But it was phenomenal. We had really good seats. We're kind of like where I was Saturday night, where I was like right on the stage as they entered in, and so we were right there when they had the table drop off the stage. It was right in front of us, and I was like, okay, I know I love this. And then what I saw last Friday, I texted my wife and I texted my buddy John, and I said, I think I even texted Adam at that point. I left you alone because you were on your honeymoon.
I was. But no, but when I see that was the independent show, right?
What's that?
The independent show you're talking about on Friday night?
No, that was in Vegas.
Oh,
that was off Fremont Street last Friday.
Oh, okay.
I walked into that, and
definitely.
the ear-to-ear grin that I had that night for 45 minutes that I was there, and we'll get into the whole thing about it. That's when I knew that it's not just the superstars, it's not just WWE. I love the art form of professional wrestling.
Yes, man. It's one of the most purest forms still to this day.
Yep.
And it kind of kills me. They're gonna drop this WWE Unreal on network. You see on Netflix?
Oh, dude, I'm so about it because I love watching.
I love it too, man.
I love watching how sausage is made. You know.
Of course.
Like,
me too,
peel
man.
back the curtain, like.
We know what's happening. Let's show it now.
Know what's happening? Just show me how you guys are doing it because it's so phenomenal.
How do you feel about this whole? Now we can kind of get into. I know we got notes and everything we want to talk about. How do you feel about the Cena and Rhodes feud and kind of? I think there's too many kitchens in the pot right now. It shows when, the final boss doesn't show up and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I listened to The Rock on Monday when he went on Pat McAfee's show, and I heard all that. But really, I think the one thing that he said that really kind of stood out to me was he realized that The Rock, his character, didn't need to be there anymore. It was about Cody and Cena. And I think my whole persona of this right now is Cody's going to be the one to take the title away at some point in the fall.
Oh, yeah.
Right near the end of Cena's run, which he has said is going to end in December.
27 more days.
And and if this is all
27 more weeks.
kayfabe, so be it. If he stays long, I see it ending in December.
Yeah, it's
and I
ending.
think it's going to be Cody's redemption again. We've seen this stuff before, and it's going to be a good storyline. I love the fact that Orton gets Cena for a title match in St. Louis, where Orton's from. I'm really excited to see Seth in Des Moines next week. But what I think, and Chris Van Vliet said this on his Insight Ask CVV on Friday, and so I'm not taking credit for this
Shout
thought.
out to I'm glad you're indulged in this world that we've.
Oh,
we love,
100%.
Dude,
I listen
I
to
love
everything
it.
CVV.
I'm just, yeah, CVV's my guy.
I try to listen to other people, and it's just
I actually won in my other room. I got a Hulk Hogan picture with signed by CVV because I won this contest. It's pretty cool.
It's just.
It's a community, bro.
But he's a true journalist, and I think that I hear him better. And that's just a personal thing.
Yeah,
nothing more other than that. But he said it. He goes, if John Cena is really talking about ruining wrestling, then the main event is exactly what his character wants, and that to give us kind of a boring, no thrills match in the main event. Because if he's really doing this, I'm going to ruin wrestling thing for the next 6 months, then why would he put on an exciting show? Why wouldn't he just find a way to win? Why would he do something for the fans whom his character supposedly completely despises right now?
It's
beautiful. And I'm all for it.
I love
because
the whole.
it's something we've never seen before. And then, sorry, I don't mean to.
No, go ahead.
But Monday and Friday night Cena, I honestly think he might be the best heel in WWE history because of what he's doing, because he really is turning it up to 11 in this hatred for the fans and completely doing a 180 from the John Cena that we've known for the last 23 years.
Yeah, I love the entrance, the black and white entrance.
Oh, dude, that was legit. And we didn't know that was coming. Nobody knew exactly what was going to happen. He still played the same music. He still wore the same clothes. He still brought out the towel. His walk is slower. He's not running down anymore.
Oh, yeah.
But the black on white, or the white text on the black, and just letting it be, especially
nice
who came out first? Oh, he came out first.
Yeah.
And then Cody with the, people are like, oh, motorcycles because it's America. No, it's motorcycles because it's Vegas and Evil Knievel. That's what
people did not know.
They didn't get that.
They did not get that.
You walk through the stadium, there's posters of Evil Knievel all over Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he is. I mean, think about what he did at Caesars. When
He is Vegas. He is Vegas. 100%.
He's Vegas and southeastern Idaho.
Yeah,
because it's Snake River. But like, for him to just do that no nonsense, especially the night before when Seth had his flamethrower. With Charlotte Flair coming out in a Bentley or Rolls Royce, I'm sorry.
Dude, it's
Stone Cold.
What? Dude,
let's go back to the beginning and then let's.
Yeah, I have my critiques on all this stuff, man. I just have some of this stuff is not. I'm used to one way of this whole Vince way, and I know it's not that way anymore. Let's crazy
stop
how to see that.
And then ask me the question: why did I go to WrestleMania?
Why did you go to WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Why did you go to WrestleMania?
Because my wife is freaking awesome.
That's fired.
No, seriously.
Shout out to the wives. Yeah, shout out to our wives.
I'm very not about spending a bunch of money for a live event because I'm just like, that money could go to something else.
Oh, yeah.
But my wife and I are at a point right now, our son's 3, and so we know that youth sports world is coming up. And there are a few things. My wife's really gotten into K-pop in the last couple of years. It's a shared venture with her and her sister and her niece, our niece is 15 now. It's a shared venture that they have, and they're really into it. And so they wanted to start going to some shows. So my wife turns 40 beginning of June. Her favorite band is Stray Kids. It's a Korean pop band, K-pop. They're playing 2 nights at SoFi. And she's very frugal. And I go, honey, it's your 40th. Go. You guys are going. So they're all 3 going for 2 shows. I'm going to stay home that weekend. Actually, I'm not going to stay home. I'll be at State Track. But I got kid's going to be with me in tow that weekend.
Awesome.
But I was like, go. And then she's got another band who's playing. They're going to go see them at the Shark Tank in San Jose. And then she just bought tickets at BMO for another band in August. And I go, honey, go have fun. So one night, shout out Black Pearl, great restaurant over on Hageman. We're sitting there at lunch, and her sister was with us, and we were talking about all this. And then her sister just looks over at my wife and goes, "Why don't you just let him go? Like, we're going to all these shows. Why don't you just let him go? Like, share,
Yeah,
share the
definitely.
wealth."
Yeah.
And my wife just looks at me. She goes, "You're not getting a tattoo for your birthday. This is your birthday present."
Damn.
And I went,
That's not a hard decision for me at all. I would have been the same. Yes, take me
and
to
I'm like,
Mania.
I could tat all year, my whole life, but just Mania in Vegas, it felt different to me. So I was like, yeah, I got to do this.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
I called up my buddy John because we had talked about it, and we had, and we were just, where are we gonna spend the money?
Yeah.
And John's been he was at the Heist. He's been to a couple of Manias. He went to SoFi a couple of years ago. He was
Which
up
was
there at
amazing.
Levi.
Yeah, that was.
But he was
oh,
he was
God.
at the Heist of the Century up at Levi Stadium 10 years ago. Because he's a Bay Area guy, but he lives in LA now. And I called him up, and I couldn't tell if he was sleepy that day or nothing. Sorry, John. But I was like, "You want to go to Mania?" I go, "What?" He goes, my wife said, "I'm going to go to the house right now. Am I buying one ticket or am I buying two?"
Damn.
And I was like, "We're going to go to night 2." Because at that point, we didn't know the triple threat yet.
Yeah, definitely.
What that was. But we knew Cena Rhodes was going to happen.
Had you? We knew it
And I
was
was
gonna be
like,
the last.
and I was like, I got to go. And Cody means something to me because the way that Cody, because the night after Raw, I was like, okay, I'm in. So I watched Mania. I watched 40 that next day, and Cody's last year, the way that Cody was hugging cameraman, high fiving everybody, the visceral, the emotional voice in Samantha Irvin's voice that night, and like that, it all touched me. And I was like, okay, this is a family. There's something going on, and then his character is still wholesome, even though he's thrown a couple F-bombs in the last couple of months.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't care about that stuff. But when it comes to my kid, I want him to be able to watch wrestling at some point, just not yet.
Yes, definitely.
But this was a Christmas present from my sister-in-law, the same one that said,
love it. I love it.
"Go let him watch wrestling."
I love it.
And so Hudson loves this.
The
Cody
American
Rhodes.
Nightmare, baby.
Oh, he knows Cody Rhodes.
Oh, my
He walks
God.
around the house, Cody Rhodes.
I love it.
But he doesn't watch wrestling because we're not ready for him to watch that type of, I don't want him to be that aggressive.
No, definitely.
We will get to that
There are
point.
times where they do they cross that border a little bit. This is not PG anymore.
No, it's not. So, but I needed to watch Cody Rhodes Cena.
Oh yeah.
And so we bought the tickets, and they were astronomical because I was like, if my first Mania is going to be in the nosebleeds, I'm doing myself a disservice.
Yes, dude.
I'm
100%
buying
you are, man.
lower level. And then
Yes.
we were in the lower bowl. We're right at the stage. So there was still a lot of screen time while we were watching it. Actually, no. Sunday night. I'm thinking about Saturday. So we initially just bought Sunday night. We were on the 4th row from the field.
Damn.
And it was tight.
Those
it
are
was
pretty-
fun. Yeah, we were still a good distance away, but it was still an incredible. So we bought those tickets, and he was like, "Okay, we're doing it." And I just thought that was it. So then I looked at hotels, and I was like, "Okay, I need to stay at the Mandalay because I don't want to walk back on the strip because I didn't realize. I was like, oh, it's so great. You can just walk right over the bridge. I didn't realize what that bridge is.
Bridge is. Wait 1 minute. Bridge. Go ahead.
So I didn't realize what the Hacienda Bridge was. We'll get into that in a second because that was an experience all in itself. But I was like, oh, yeah, Mandalay's right there. It's walking distance. And it was. But everything's walking distance.
That looked like a brutal walk back.
Yeah.
Oh
So we'll
my
get into
God, that was
so,
brutal,
so
dude.
dude, it was insane. So I got 2 nights on the Mandalay, and then as the time was going on, I was like, man, you know what? I don't want to be driving in the day of night 1 and the traffic trying to get in and all that stuff, and then trying to get, because you never know if a room's available, and then trying to find a place to watch Mania that night. And I was like, so again, my wife is awesome. I said, hey, can I go Friday? Because I told her about all that, but I was like, I want to do Fremont Street because I've never done Fremont Street before.
Oh man,
I know. And her family used to go to El Cortez all the time.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that was their
Old
Vegas
Town
home.
Vegas, baby. Yeah,
Oh,
Old
dude.
Town Vegas. Old
And
Town Delton.
so she's like, yeah, go ahead. So I got a room at Golden Nugget, and at that point, it was just about like hanging out on Fremont Street. doing that whole experience and getting up Saturday and going checking the Mandalay, getting ready to watch night one somewhere. And as we got closer and we found out about the triple threat, my buddy John is the biggest CM Punk fan like you are.
Yeah,
like
hell
his
yeah.
mantle on his house is this photo of Punk,
Straight
signed
edge.
by Punk,
Oh, man.
from like 2013, I think
man.
John said. So I was like, okay. I was like, we got to go to night one. I said, do what you got to do. Mm-hmm. So his wife Melissa came with us, and I felt bad because I didn't know that she was a big wrestling person when I bought the tickets. I would have offered to buy 3.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Include, of course.
Yeah. So he bought 3 tickets for us, and we were literally. So Sunday night we were 116 row 4. We were 117 like row 23 or something like
no
that.
bad seats at all,
But it was
man.
still like right there. Like we were just perfectly in line with that ramp. And I knew, and I was like, they're ramping it. That means they're going to be using a lot of vehicles. And they did. And they did it a great job. LA Knight coming out, was it a Maserati? Coming out like that. And then Stone Cold not realizing there was a ramp. And then did you see the back? So
I see the fan view of it. I didn't even know that was going on. They didn't show that on Peacock. At least that portion when he first got stuck. Yeah.
Well, and I didn't see it either because that little section right there was kind of out of our peripheral vision because of the fans below us. Like we couldn't from where we were standing Saturday night, where we were sitting, you couldn't really see any of that. So I didn't even know that little mishap and the backup to get back up on there. I didn't even know that happened either, and it was right in front of me, but I couldn't see that section. But those seats were great, and he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna get him." I was like, "Oh my God, we're doing this!"
Hell
So I
yeah.
definitely needed that Friday night. And then he was like, "Hey, are you gonna go to WorldCon?" And I was like, "What's that?"
What's
And
that? Oh, my God.
and
Such
I'm
a
like-
beautiful thing, dude.
And I'm like, yeah. So like having John a part of this journey was so big for me because he's like, "Oh, do this," and then
He's your tour guide, bro. Like,
oh, he's my muse. He's my wrestling muse.
100%,
So he told me,
yeah.
he's like, "Hey," and so he knew about this. So I'll show you guys this. So what this is for those of you guys who are watching. So in 2012, I was a freelance journalist in Sacramento, and I was covering junior college football, much like Bakersfield College, American River College up there, and I covered them every game in 2011, and then coming in 2012, I was still covering them, but I was covering a bunch of other stuff. But they asked me that summer if I could help design their football program.
Fire.
So I enlisted my buddy Andrew Vasquez, who is a great graphic designer, and we came up with this program. I don't even know. It's 56 pages.
what level is this?
64. What? Junior college.
Okay.
Like
okay.
I just said, like Bakersfield
BC,
College.
okay,
Yeah, same thing. 3C, 2A stuff.
Okay. That's what. Yeah.
So, obviously, you guys see here, former Raider, which is coincidental. Devontae Poker is on here. And then Sam Fafia, he went on to play at Kansas out of here. So, we put them on here. But I'm watching that first iteration, and I'm looking at this guy, when I'm going back to that Raw that I first started watching right after Mania. And I'm like, man, that dude looks really familiar. So, what did I do? Wikipedia. Start going through. What did he do before? Where is he from? Oh, he's from Sacramento. I'm from Sacramento. He played for American River College before. So I texted his old head coach, who's still a buddy of mine, John Osterhaus. I was like, Johnny O, what year did this guy play? He goes, dude, that's Sefa Fatu. He was on the 2012 team.
no shit.
And I was like, dang. I was like, I think I saw that program. So I ran into the garage. I started going through all the bands. Boom, found it. Get to it.
Yeah, when you told me this, bro, I was like, wow. Of course you have it.
Of course, I still have
Of
it.
course you do. No, I was not shocked at all. There it is.
There he is right there. Solo Sikoa. Birth name, Sefa Fatu, because he's obviously...
He's the Fatu family. You got that
a Fatu,
bloodline?
yeah.
He's the bloodline.
He's brothers of the Uso brothers. He's the son of Rikishi.
And he was so, he was really happy you had that, man. You could tell on his face, bro.
Okay, so what happened was, John's like, hey, get on 10 a.m. this day. Try to book Solo. And you don't know when it is. And that was the other thing, too. I was like, I need to be in Saturday morning because I don't know what it is. And then it said Sunday, 9 a.m. And I was like, beautiful. So I booked it. So I walked in, and so John and Melissa had bought the all-weekend passes for World. So on Friday morning, Drew McIntyre, who's a great social media
Oh, yeah.
watch, posts this do's or don'ts that the WWE digital team did. And one of his do's was, do wash, do shower. Nobody wants to smell you. So my buddy John saw it on the flight in from LAX, went straight to the convenience store in LA airport. I asked him this. I was like, did you know beforehand, or did you do that because of the post? He goes, oh, I did it completely. Because he didn't come empty-handed. He had a Funko with him.
Yeah,
He had a Drew McIntyre Funko with him. But he's like, this is so much better. So he got a stick of Old Spice. And when he went in there, his wife, Melissa, works for SI's digital team. And she videotaped it. And it was such a great reaction to Drew McIntyre. If you guys have seen it, go to Drew McIntyre's page. It's like 6 down on his feed right now. It's phenomenal. And it's my buddy, him signing my buddy John's and getting a huge laugh out of it. And he signs it.
That's
and now
fire.
it's literally on his mantle.
Oh, man.
Because it's one of his prized possessions now. So Melissa
Who would have thought?
So Melissa had the idea, hey, let's do the same thing with Sokoa, because this, and it's, and like Adam Waybright said, it's like, he probably has never signed something so cool or so personalized to him before in his life.
Definitely.
So he and I didn't, he was a backup. So you'll watch the video. It's on my feed of the interaction I had with Solo. I'm at Trev Horn if you guys want to watch it on X.
Of course.
It's one of those things where, it's 13 years ago, and his life has completely changed since then. So no, he doesn't remember the beat guy from that team from that year. That's fine, because he was a backup D lineman back then. I didn't report on him.
You didn't cover him as much, I'm sure, as you did.
That team was littered with D1 guys all over the place. So I spent most of my time as writing. One guy became an Olympian.
Yeah.
Off of that team, DeAndre Batson, or Olympic trialist. And then went on to the Diamond Circuit.
And you said Devontae Booker. He played for the Broncos too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Devontae Booker. Went to
crazy.
Utah.
Yeah. He was with us for a little bit.
Dude, Devontae Booker was one of the greatest high school running backs in California history. I think he scored, 52 touchdowns his senior year, 3,500 yards.
How long did he stay with this program for American River?
How long was he there?
Yeah, just for a year maybe.
Oh no, he's got the craziest story. So he didn't have the academics coming out of Grant High, and so he went up to Wazoo, and they were like, hey, you're missing this class. He tried to go to Fresno State. Hey, you're missing this class. He got out of football, even though, absolutely immensely talented.
Yeah, of course.
And then this is a story that Devontae has told me, and I've written about numerous times. So I'm not saying anything that's, not
on the record.
Yeah, that's not news.
Yeah, definitely.
And then John Walker was a running backs coach at that time at American River College. Found out Devontae Booker was just milling around town, not playing football. So he went and found him, and Devontae finally decided, he's like, okay, I'll come play for you guys. Through the first 3 weeks of the season, he was in a 3-back set because they really didn't know what he was, what he could still do, because he hadn't played in a year. And then all of a sudden, we're up, and I want to say we're up at College of Siskiyou in Weed, Idaho.
Damn, dude, you're
California.
Damn.
Yeah. And he broke off, I want to say, 158 and 3 touchdowns and never looked back. He was
Your recollection is crazy, bro.
So he became an All-American that year in 2011. And then in 2012, he was everything.
Yeah.
And then he signed with Utah. He still had some academic things to figure out. He redshirted a year. And then he was all what was Utah back then? Pac-12? All Pac-12.
It was Pac-12, yeah.
Yeah, I got to see him play once when they were at Fresno State when I was here. I went up there to cover because Jared Norris from Centennial was also on that Utah team. So I went up to do a story on Jared, but I got to hang out with Devontae after the game, which was cool. And then to be able to see him get drafted and play in the league and get to that 5-year mark where he gets the retirement. People don't understand how big that is.
Yeah, definitely.
And now I believe he's just living in Sacramento, taking care of his 2 boys and being a dad. And so
I remember Booker, bro. Booker was the man for a few seconds.
And he ran. He
was dynamic as hell.
He ran the ball like sweetness. He ran the ball like Adrian Peterson, where he was just so big. He would pull the ball up a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was just because he was always trying to get a little bit more torque.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so
awesome.
So for Solo, he was a backup D end, and it was just like, man, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't really remember him. So when I asked him, I was like, do you remember me? And he kind of looks at me, and I'm like, it doesn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
There was a 50-50 chance that he was going to remember me. And if he doesn't remember me, I don't care. But the look on his face when he saw this, and he wanted to sign, he's like, am I signing this? And I'm like, yeah, let me find your picture. And I found his picture, and I was like, yeah, let's do this.
That's so cool,
Oh,
man.
it was so cool. It was such a cool moment that morning to do it. I never slept in Vegas because I always had something else to go to.
And it's such personal, I'm sure too. Like, just like Adam said, like that's something in their past life, like that dream he was pursuing.
Yeah.
And now he's in this dream that he's living.
Yeah.
Like it's his past, but like dude, that it's not his gimmick. That was his real childhood dream, was probably being a football player.
Oh, and I looked at him too. I was like, "Hey, I'm still friends with Johnny L. Tell me what's up." He's like, "Oh yeah, tell Coach what's up."
Tight.
But dude, I'm sorry, but it was 9 a.m. on a Sunday after his brother and his cousin just won titles the night before. With Jay and Jacob Fatu winning the way that they did, that they were up till 3 a.m., 5 a.m.
Jay was partying at
Jay
the presser,
was
dude.
drunk.
He was plastered,
That
bro.
dude was hammered.
It's Vegas. What do you want him to do?
Well, and he had just won a singles title over Gunther with a storyline where people were hating on him for no reason.
Dude, and Gunther's such an old school heel, bro. There's not many like him anymore. The way
he's fantastic.
you believe everything he says. It's
Yeah.
like it's out of spite, and it's like he knows he could beat anybody's ass in that locker room.
Yeah.
And when that storyline changed when Jay slapped the shit out of him in the hallway. That was a great stuff. I was like, oh my god, that was.
But the best setup that they could have ever done was that blood match. With Jimmy.
Jimmy, yeah, man.
And Gunther just war painting himself, and I'm like, okay,
that's awesome shit, dude.
They did it perfectly. Like my buddy John said, Jay is the best in his promos when he is talking about his family.
Oh, yeah.
And the minute you put his mother and a bloody Jimmy into the equation, you knew that they were already writing it for him to win.
And that turned everything around with that storyline. I was kind of disappointed because Royal Rumble is always historically known as you win this thing, or maybe after the fourth one. After the fourth one, you win it, you get the main event at WrestleMania.
However,
it's been great. Now with two nights, it's changed the game up a little bit.
And there's so many other things. Like you can't not main event Cena Rhodes. You
Can't
can't not main event the three stalwarts of WWE. And I'm sorry, Punk is always a WWE stalwart, even though he went away for 10 years.
Dude, that's why I love Cody and CM Punk so much. Just, I wish he would have been. It was real time that AEW run.
Yeah.
Man, that was some of the craziest times.
I know, I've heard.
It was beautiful, dude. Just the way they raised the bar in that company, and when they came back, like, no one would have thought this was. Dude, still can't believe he's in the WWE ring. Seeing CM Punk versus Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, I never would have thought I'd seen that.
Well, and that was the thing for my
can't
buddy.
believe it.
That was the thing for my buddy John. It was just the simple fact that he was seeing that we got to see CM Punk finally
Main event
main event a Mania
with Paul Heyman next to him again. Who'd have thought that would have happened?
Dude, and that finish and Heyman's double heel turn was beautiful. And then the fact that we got to see number 17, even though it was quote unquote boring to most of you guys, we still got to see history with number 17.
No one would, dude. Flair's record. That is one of those, Babe Ruth 714s. That is Pete Rose breaking Ty Cobb's record. That is what we're living through right now, and that's what kind of not pissed me. It kind of pissed me off. It got
only got a couple
overshadowed.
more years. He's not going to get there. Roman's not going to get 7 more. It's there are all these factors in that. It needed to happen, but it's going to be at some point. It's going to be Cody to take it all back.
The chase is always
Cody is the babyface of all babyfaces.
The chase is always going to be better for the babyface, man. It's historically what's always worked, and he's a Rhodes, bro. His dad chased all his life.
Oh, I know.
And it's going to be.
I love when he does the bionic elbow. I mean, it's just that little bit of that twist.
Man.
That little southern twist that you get in there, and it's just beautiful. But it was so. Going back to wrestling, so I started to look a few other things about that week because I was like, I wanted to do Vegas, but I just don't like crowds a lot. I knew I needed to kind of like understand that my whole weekend was going to be wrestling. It wasn't going to be doing things in Vegas. So I get in Friday. I leave first thing in the morning, like 8:30. I get in there, 12:30 or 1 or something, and I check into the hotel and I go down. It was so cool because it was like 2:30 in the afternoon on that Friday, and there was still a fair amount of people down there, but I was able to kind of just walk up and down Fremont Street and really kind of take it in with the Pizza Rock for lunch. I come back and I look, and I hear this sound check. I look over, and it's actually Living Color. It's doing their sound check.
So cool, bro.
Because I found out that they were doing, I found out a couple weeks prior that they were doing a free show on Fremont Street, and I was like, Fremont Street Friday night, Punk main eventing the next night they're warming up to open for him. So even before they announced that they were going to play for him like they did 11 years ago at main event, I knew they were going to do it again. So it was like a 9:30 show. So I got it and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Heck yeah, I'm going to watch it. And I posted a story that I was on Fremont Street, and a buddy of mine from here was like, are you going to the Living Color show? He's a big rock fan, and so he goes to shows. I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, I'm driving in just for that show.
Damn.
Him and his buddy
Of course
drove in from Vancouver.
Of course they would.
They just
That
drove in
makes
to
more
watch
sense.
that show. And he's not a wrestling fan at all. He just loves Living Color.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm planning on it. So went in, walked, did all that. And then I got in the car and I went down to the marketplace at Lynx because Mania Club was putting on a fundraiser to be able to watch the East Coast feed of SmackDown. So we watched it from 5 to 8. Me, John, and Melissa, we watched it in a yard house there, had some food. And then they were dog tired because they had a 4 a.m. flight out of LAX that morning. So like, we got to go to bed. Plus they had WorldCon stuff. They had to be there at 8 a.m. So like, we just want to go to bed.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, cool. Tight, because I want to go back and watch that in Living Color show. It's like, do you guys want to watch this? They're like, we don't want to. We're done.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And they were staying at the Strip. I think they were at the TI. They were at the Treasure Island. So they're like, we just want to walk back and go to bed. I was like, tight. So I went back up, and I came down, and I found my buddy Matt. We watched the show, and it was legit. It was great. They played Cult of Personality, and then they did not end the show with Cult of Personality. They played one more. It was a cover. And the crowd just dispersed because you could tell like half the crowd was wrestling fans.
Yeah, they just wanted to watch.
Thinking that CM Punk was going to come out that night, and I was one of those fans. I was hoping for it, but then I realized he was the one presenting that
Austin Hart.
the Austin Hart Award simultaneously. 2 miles away at the Fountain Blue. So I was like, he's not here. So I bounced, and Fremont Street was shoulder to shoulder at that point. And I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah,
because I wanted to walk back to the hotel and go to bed. But it was like 10:15 or so. It wasn't late, but I was tired because I'd driven that morning. But I started walking, and I looked up, and I'm walking down the street. It was Carson Street. My nephew's name was Carson, so I remembered it was Carson Street. I saw this big jumbotron, and it had a big name on it. I didn't know the name. And then I heard music, and it was an outdoor venue. And then I saw this sign, and it said Live Professional Wrestling presented by Rikishi.
And what was it called again?
It was the downtown
Damn it.
Vegas. It was Knock Pro.
Okay, Knock Pro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
okay.
Knock Pros. I didn't know anything about it, and I just stood there, and I was on this empty street right outside of it. It was 10:30 at night on a Friday of Mania weekend in Vegas, and I go,
You gotta go.
I gotta go.
Yeah, you gotta
So
go.
I walked up to the box office, and I was worried that it was ending. That
Yeah.
I was gonna, and I was like, and I asked the young lady that was at the box office. I was like, how much longer in the show? She goes, well, we started at 9, which was 90 minutes prior, and we're booked to midnight. 90 minutes later, I was like,
halfway.
how much? $37 with tax. Take my money.
Please.
Give me my money. I walked right in, Ernie. There was only a couple hundred people in there.
Yeah.
I don't know why nobody knew about it. I walked in. It was a battle royale main event.
The pictures look so dope, bro.
Dude, I went right up to the barrier. I was between, here and that wall over there, so 15 feet from the ring. I didn't know who any of these dudes were, and it was exhilarating. I was talking smack to the managers. I was high-fiving the wrestling. One dude took a swig of beer off the fan next to me. I had to jump out of the way because the barrier got
Independent wrestling's no joke, bro.
Oh, dude,
Independent
wrestling's
wrestling's crazy.
It was just, and it was that night. It was in that moment. I texted my wife. She was dead asleep. She didn't see it till the next morning. But I said, honey, I know I love pro wrestling because this brought me so much enjoyment.
Yeah.
I had an ear-to-ear grin
the
entire time. It was just so much fun. And it goes back to loving watching how sausage is made.
Yes, bro.
I could hear, you could see them talking through.
Calling those spots.
Yeah, they were calling their spots, and you could
man.
see it. At one point, actually, the dude that it was a big Samoan dude, like 6'8". You know he was a lineman in college.
yeah.
I wish I knew what his name was. He looks at all of us in the crowd. All of us. It was like 5 or 8 guys in my little section right there. They had grandstands over there, and people kind of sitting over there. But where I was, and I was like, staging area was right here at the corner. He goes, damn, how long is this match? And I was like, I hope it keeps going. Because it was just so much fun. I mean, they were just, one dude went up to scaffolding, another dude jumped over the barrier, he's screaming for the social media. I mean, it was just, they were all over the place. It was independent wrestling, and it was just so much fun. And I can't wait till next Friday. I cannot wait till next Friday.
I think we'll see it too next Friday. Those independent guys are just,
they're just trying to make it.
They want their shot, man. They're looking for their break. And
for those of you guys that don't know, next Friday on Union, what's the location?
Bakersfield PAL, Bakersfield Police Activities League. I think it's 401 4th Street, I believe.
Right off of Union.
Yeah, I'm there all the time. I need to know the address.
Right off of Union. Journey Fatu, Jacob Fatu's younger brother from Sacramento, is main eventing this event. Mm-hmm. But I think they've done a great job doing a social media presence. But, I
didn't know about it until I seen the flyer. I was like, what is this?
Well, I didn't know about it. It was Adam Waybright was like, are you going to go to this? Or was it you?
No, I think it was Adam because I knew.
It was Adam because then I asked you and I was, are you going to this? And you said,
I'm trying to shoot it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to shoot it. I've been working on it for like the last 2 weeks. I'm like, dude, I need to shoot this, and I'm working on it. I hope.
Yeah, and I just can't.
I can't imagine shooting
it. I can't wait. And then while we got the lead up to Mania, what comes out and what more money do I have to spend? SmackDown here in June.
Dude, yes.
So I bought 3 tickets for my buddy John and my father-in-law.
Oh, you take them?
And I called him because they're going to be in town because it's my wife's birthday, and then there's an 8th grade graduation for one of our nephews. Mm-hmm. And so they're coming in, and they're going to be in town. I was like, what do you want to do that Friday night? He's like, what are you talking about? I go, you want to go to SmackDown? He goes, what do you mean? I go, SmackDown's downtown. And I still call it Rabobank.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's changed names.
I still call it Centennial Garden, bro.
Yeah, I know.
It's always been embedded in me.
But it's one of those things I was like, yeah, we're going.
And Cena will be in town.
Will be there. My God, and I'm sure Solo is going to be there because this is SmackDown.
And don't forget, we have when Worlds Collide goes in L.A. and they're going to have Money in the Bank. Yeah, dude, I'm trying. That's going to probably be my. That's my WrestleMania weekend, though.
I'm not going to be able to go because it's the weekend we're celebrating my wife's 40th birthday, so there's no way I'm going to be able to get down there. But I am going Friday night to SmackDown.
Damn, I do have a gig that day.
Yeah, look at your schedule, dude. You can't do it.
I'm so sick.
So being able to watch it independent, and I just went to bed that night with such a big smile on my face, except for the fact that I could not sleep in the Golden Nugget because my room faced Fremont Street, and all I heard was the music all night long. And Golden Nugget knows how loud their rooms are because there's complimentary earbuds on the nightstand.
Do they?
Oh my God, yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I probably didn't fall asleep till like 3 a.m. because I couldn't get the noise out of my head, and I woke up at like 7:45 and I just bounced.
Yeah.
Because then what I did the next morning was John and Melissa was like, "Hey, go get your wristband for Sunday on Saturday, so you're not standing in 2 different lines."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's smart.
And it was the smartest thing ever because I walked right in, but it was just another $40 I had to spend for parking because I drove and did that. But it was all right. I mean, Vegas gets you. Everybody knows Vegas gets you. And so, it's going to be different in every other city for Mania. It's not going to have all these hidden resort fees and stuff like that. But, in Vegas, you don't want to drive. You want to Uber or cab everywhere. So it's still
Or Metro. Take the Metro train too, bro.
But the problem is that I was at Mandalay, so the Metro...
It's on the other side.
It's a 30-minute walk, so it didn't make any sense to walk 30 minutes just to take the Metro when I just cabbed it. I just go out in the front at Mandalay, and they got those cab stands, and it's just right there.
I'm sure it was Vegas. I'm sure it was decorated entirely. Oh,
dude,
rest of stuff.
The whole strip.
That's how SoFi was, dude.
Well, that's like Fremont Street. They had the big bell, and these are things that I bought for my. I always got to get the commemorative cup, so I actually grabbed 2.
I gotta get one for my WrestleMania stuff, man.
Commemorative one, and I got another one that I drink out of. I got the belt. I got him a little teddy bear. I got the shirt.
Oh, that's a beautiful shirt.
Man, it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful shirt.
And they did really good. The neon lights with Vegas. They did it up. And so, Fountain Blue, which is off the strip, it's actually the resort that's right next to the convention center, which was smart because then everybody just, they probably got an underground tunnel for.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All the wrestlers.
I'm sure.
So they were right there off the strip or at the north end of the strip. In between there and downtown, and then Circa had the swim party, the swim
I've seen that.
swim stadium there, and we were actually thinking about doing that.
That
Friday
would be
night,
nice,
but it would have been $40 a pop just to walk in the door.
Of course,
where it was a free event at where the Ferris wheel is.
Oh, the Link. We were just talking about the Link.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my spot, bro.
So that's why we did it. So that's why we did it there.
Flamingo.
And then Saturday. My buddy John Hornberg, for those of you who may not know, he spent 5 years as the lead designer for a sports section. So all the tabloids you saw in California from like 2013 to 2017 were all John. He's been down there at the newspaper in Vegas. So we got to eat lunch, came back, still hadn't been able to check into my hotel. I was pre-checked in, still hadn't been able to drop my bags off. So whatever I was wearing that day, I just wore to Mania that night. John and Melissa met me, and then I walked in, and oh my God, Hacienda walking over that bridge is something else. Not walking in as much because everybody's walking in at a different time, but to be able to go into the stadium, sit in our seats, feel Mania. And the thing was, is that like, there were so many shots when I went back to watch the broadcast of the seats right around the ring kind of being empty here and there. But those are the high-flying people that, they've got the FU money.
They spent 15, 20,000. It's no big deal to them at all.
They got the fuck you money.
Yeah, 100%
like,
they do.
They don't care. They're off in the backstage, drinking their Moscow mules and talking about their 401ks.
Yeah, definitely.
Where the rest of us are just in it.
Happy to fucking be here.
I'm telling you, man, there were moments, my biggest wrestling moments. I have a list here.
Keep going. Listen, go.
But it was just one of those things. Do you want me to pause?
No, keep going.
Okay.
We're going to do. We're going to blame my producer. We're going to blame my producer.
Yeah, blame the producer. Blame the 12-year-old. Way to
blame
go,
the
Ernie.
I
You may be as tall as a 12-year-old, but he's actually 12.
Dude, he is.
Come on,
Jaden. Shout out to my producer, Jaden. He got me. I can't even just pause sometimes because I'm worried about my damn video. We still on though. Go ahead, sir.
So
top Mania moments. Go ahead.
So, but it was the way that it looked from our vantage point. It just looked like a sea of people. There were no sections from where we were sitting, and that place was packed to the gills. 60,000+ people. Phenomenal. The energy. I wrote down some notes. Well, what is this? Oh, yeah. Being able to see Stone Cold's entrance,
so lucky,
Heartbreak
man.
Kid's entrance, and Triple H's entrance
So
in 2025 was
lucky.
just to watch Stone Cold live in 2025 crack beers. Just phenomenal.
He changed the industry, Trevor. I wish we were there, man, when this shit was going on.
I know about some of the things. I just wasn't into it.
Yeah,
back
man.
then.
Such a fucking beautiful. It's so crazy to see him, dude.
This is not in order. This is just me writing it down over the weekend. Becky Lynch's return.
Mm-hmm.
When that man pop came, the crowd went apeshit.
Hell yeah.
It was beautiful.
I'm glad she's back.
And I'm so glad that she's back, and I'm glad that she did it with Lyra because they're both Irish.
Yeah, she turned on her the next day, didn't she?
Yeah, but it was
Damn, I didn't. Oh.
No, but it was. They did it right because they lost the match, and then it leaves it up for Becky going solo.
Yeah,
so it was a
she's always
great
gonna be
way for her to
solo.
come
Yeah.
in because they needed her. It was a crap thing what they did to Bayley.
Bailey, I was supposed to say Bailey should. Oh, never.
Bailey got
I'm not gonna
screwed out.
critique it.
Bailey
I'm not
got
gonna
screwed
critique
out
it.
of it,
I'm not gonna
but
critique
Becky
it.
coming back was so tight.
Yeah.
And then Becky watching, and then the video of Becky watching Seth the night prior was so cool.
Yeah, definitely.
The biggest pop to me was the one that threw me off the most because I didn't see it coming because I wasn't around for the 2000 to 2006 era. I wasn't around for the custody battle.
Oh yeah, I know you're going. I know you're
Okay,
going.
so I wasn't around for all that. So I don't have that same feeling towards Dominic Mysterio like you old heads do.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
I wasn't around when Eddie was, pulling him out.
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
It was, and
Great storyline.
he looks like Eddie too. That's the craziest thing about it. He doesn't look like Ray. He looks like Eddie, and so it's like that whole thing. You could go on to that.
The hair,
time,
the
but
machismo.
don't do that because Eddie's got such a great legacy. Don't tarnish it by throwing that. And I'm not saying to throw that storyline in, but it's funny that he does look. But when Dom won that 4-way fatal, and the pop from the crowd when he won, it honestly, it was like I was the Rock.
You The Rock got those goosebumps.
Oh, I had goosebumps because it came across on TV because I watched the broadcast later, but not in the way that it came across to us.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
You gotta be there.
it was so emotional. He's been a heel for the last 3 years, and his character's been so despicable. But yet, that night, him winning, it brought everybody back to 2006. And for a lot of them, it brought them back to their 20s, their teens. when they're 5, or it's they're a kid and their parents told them about Eddie and Ray and Dom. And for Dom to win that night and the way he did, and then it wasn't just that, it was when he went back up the ramp and then came back down. Oh, man, that pop was awesome.
The way they told the story in that match, dude, it propelled Dom, and that's the beauty of this whole fucking wrestling shit, dude.
Everybody slapped in that match. Braun was still the top.
Oh, yeah.
Finn Balor, he's so phenomenal.
I'm a big Penta guy.
And Penta was phenomenal.
When he was a Lucha Underground, we went to go see a few tapings, like the ones you seen for Rikishi's Independent. That's how it was back in the day for Penta. Dude, Penta's...
all 4 of them.
God,
all
dude,
4
Penta,
of them. That was that fatal 4-way, and then it was just amazing.
The way they built Penta, and then Phoenix is here now, dude. Those, and I'm sure you've seen AEW. They're going to be one of the best tag teams in a couple months. I'm glad they're getting the solo runs, and no, I'm a big Penta guy. I'm glad they're doing what they're doing with them.
Drew McIntyre selfie with Damien, we could feel it because I could see them in that corner right there, because it was where we were. It was like, here's the announce stage, and so it happened right here, and I was like, he's grabbing a phone, and then he throws it back, and it happened to be his brother, and I was like, okay, that's just it. And
his year he had is probably one of the best years ever. Drew has been, man, he's one of those guys, he could lose a fight, but he's never going to lose that where he's at right now. And that's hard to do. That's hard to do. Nothing hurts him.
I'll tell you this, him and LA Knight popped on Friday night. LA Knight doing the Shawn Michaels sitting across. My buddy was telling me, he was like, dude, that's a vintage Shawn Michaels.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, that's so great. El Grande, I just think the character is it's like they're just dangling this little carrot. Like, everybody knows that it's not Chad. I'm kidding.
Yeah, man. But Chad has another guy who had a great fucking year. But no,
I can't believe it in Mania.
Dude, I know, though.
And then this guy, El Grande, a Starbucks. No, I'm
from the Gulf of Mexico, of all places. No.
I know, and he's a Starbucks order.
He has a very similar move set towards my guy Chad.
And a similar tattoo on his back.
Yeah, I see that.
But what I love, what I love about the look is it's still got the gracias.
Yeah,
so he's
that's
still
so
doing
fire,
this,
dude.
and it's still bringing that back. It's not the thank you, it's the gracias.
I love it.
And then the mask itself, it almost looks like a puppy dog.
Yeah.
Like a droopy dog.
It reminds me of Psychosis, dude. Like, there's an old WCW wrestler. I love the way that is. It's like
But it's just so much fun. And then, the way that Mysterio went down.
Sucks.
And the way that Penta's brother came in and took on that match was phenomenal. And again, like I said, this is not in order by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just writing these down as I'm looking at them. Heyman's double heel turn.
It had to happen.
Was that the best heel turn for a manager? I mean,
it's up there. It's up there.
And then just
he's done this before.
and that match, much like Logan Paul's entrance, we all thought that Logan Paul was going to rappel down.
Do some Shawn Michaels shit, huh?
Well, we were looking, and me and my buddy John were just looking. I was like, where could he come down from? Because they had that Venetian-like setting, and they had the seats right above it, and we kept on looking up and going, he could rappel down from up there, and then he just comes out. But that was made for the broadcast. That was not made for the fans because it came across as a perfect production for the broadcast, not for the 63,000 that were in attendance that night. But this, and the reason I'm getting to that, because that was made for the broadcast. This Heyman heel turn was made for the broadcast, not for the fans, because you had to look in his eyes and the pain when he had the chair and he didn't go back and forth. And then the whole thing, and then, it was the Roman hit when Roman just goes step back a little bit, and you could just see Heyman's face get maniacal. And then he just uppercuts him, and you're just like, okay, this is how it's going to go. And now this new Seth and Heyman heel run is going to be so beautiful.
And it's going to only elevate Seth. Yeah. It's crazy how Paul does that with these guys.
Jacob Fatu and LA Knight are two huge human beings, and they put on such a phenomenal show that night. Such a great run, and I love what Jacob Fatu, and I love where he is projecting to. Jey Uso's entrance took forever, but it was so fun to start off Mania that way. The flags coming down, him coming out of the stands, and then him winning, and Jimmy coming out, and just how receptive he was to the crowd, and how much fun it was to yeet in person for the first time.
The People's Champion, man.
Yeah.
The People's Champion.
Another one that I added, I didn't even realize, the other huge pop was...
Say his name.
and he will appear.
Say his name.
I believe in Joe Hendry. That was phenomenal. Like, because we all thought it was going to be Nick Aldis.
Yeah.
I
thought it was going to be Aleister Black or Rusev. It made sense.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Rusev came in the next night.
Yeah,
the very
so
next
glad
night
he's back,
at
dude.
Raw. God, he looks good. He looks
So-
just huge.
He was so
But-
wasted the last 2 years.
But bringing in Hendry was not only such a cool Mania moment, but it was also a way for Triple H to say, we are the top dog, and don't you forget it. The fact that we had a TNA
world champion.
at Mania
Never would've
with
happened
his
10 years
TNA
ago.
belt, that would have never happened under Vince.
Never, bro, never.
Triple H, and especially this week with Raw and and SmackDown, has basically said, "Oh, you don't think I know what I'm doing here? Let me show you." And what they did on Monday night and then what they did on Friday
Yeah.
just shows you that it's not just the PLEs anymore.
No, it's
Everything they do, even
The
to
content is credible.
Even NXT's women's
Yes.
roster is probably better than
Stephanie Vacker is my girl,
Oh my
bro.
God,
I love.
She is so good.
She's a beautiful woman, but she's always been good for the last 3 or 4 years. She's been good.
AEW's women's is great. TNT is great. I mean, there's so much great wrestling out there, but that moment to have Joe Hendry come out there, it just shows. And then what Triple H told him afterwards was like, hey, this was the easiest one you're going to have because you're going to have more.
Yeah.
It means that he's going to come onto the card soon. And
And they got AAA too. They just purchased. So it's nice to see WWE say, "We TNA, AAA. You're with us, and we're gonna take you there." It's nice to see, man.
And then finally, just being able to watch Cody Rhodes and Cena in a main event was just phenomenal.
Yeah, man.
And I'll be honest, I left Sunday night underwhelmed, not because of the whole card, but because Cena winning. And I just because I wanted Cody, because I had this whole idea that The Rock was going to come out. This is my whole idea going in. The Rock was going to come out, say something that Cena didn't like. Cena was going to turn on The Rock, and in that moment, Cody was going to pin Cena, hold on to the belt. But that was Cena's chance to turn babyface again with Cody against The Rock and kicking The Rock out. And obviously, that never happened. But I think we all were sitting there waiting for The Rock, especially when Fiend popped and Travis Scott took 2.5 hours.
Oh my God,
to come down.
The biggest critique of the whole
get
thing,
it.
dude.
People are like, "Why is Travis Scott a part of it?" I don't know. I'm not a Travis Scott fan by any stretch of the imagination. But he's got the Cactus Jack line, so of course he's going to be a part of it.
And he's gonna. You know what, man?
And he's a super fan.
He's big in the culture. Maybe not my culture.
Not my culture.
Yeah, I don't really care for his.
I don't like his music.
His lane, yeah, me
and
either, dude.
And there's a few other things about him that I won't get into.
But I'm sure he has 100 million followers on Instagram. I'm sure he does all that stuff. And good exposure.
And my buddy John and I, we joke about this, that, I'm sure that Stephanie and Triple H said at the breakfast table in the morning, go, "Hey, girls, what are you guys into right now?" Okay, we'll get on Tubi.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get on Crunchyroll.
And that theme song is everywhere. No,
I can't wait till they finally get rid of that.
God, that song has been in place like October. I can't get rid of it. Everybody
cannot get
loves
rid
that
of that
damn theme song.
But not having The Rock there was actually better, because it turned out, and the match turned out to be the way it was supposed to be. We need this heel turn by Cena for a little bit longer, and we need a redemption tour for Cody. And Esteban Ramirez, I think, said it best on Twitter. Again, another dude that left Bakersfield in the media and is now thriving in Vegas.
Yes, he is. Emmy producer. Emmy winning. Like, dude, my guy Steve, he was my fantasy football. We went to football together. It's my guy.
But it was, I think that when we go back and look at it, it's not going to be a Mania main event that's going to be in the archives waiting to be in the Legends section.
Yeah, for sure.
But it set a tone for, I think, what we're going to see at Backlash.
Money in the Bank. Survivor Series.
And
SummerSlam. We have so much coming up.
SummerSlam. I mean, and you think about it, you got San Diego and LA. How much more money can we spend? God, and then now I'm looking towards, do I go to New Orleans and I go see, my bro guy, Zach Ewing, out there?
Hell yeah. Oh, Zach is out there all day.
So he lives in Baton Rouge.
Damn, I forgot. Dude.
But I was like,
what a world.
But it was just, and just being there and that being my first WWE experience.
I'm glad you had it,
WrestleMania
bro.
41.
Welcome to the Mark life.
Oh my God,
Such a
dude,
beautiful
it's
life.
just so much fun, and I can't wait for June 6th here at, what are we calling it now?
Dignity
Health
Health.
Arena.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out
So
to
the
them.
arena downtown, the Mechanics, Rabo, Centennial Dignity Arena.
Yeah, definitely.
Can't wait for that, and I'm so excited to be a part of this world. It's such great theatrics. It's the best that money can buy.
Acknowledge him. Acknowledge him. And bro, I was always I knew
Perfect shot.
That was great. I always knew Roman would. I had he had it, and I just knew they just figured it out. And I think my biggest critique this whole WrestleMania season, why have The Rock involved at all in the beginning? Cena was big enough to do the heel turn by himself.
Yeah, and then Rock throwing them under the bus.
I think it's all
Elimination Chamber
that's all
not
bullshit,
having
dude.
enough tickets. I think there's some kayfabe in
Is
there.
is Emmanuel calling The Rock without anybody's knowledge, saying, "Yo, I need you to come in here and fix this," and then Rock just walks in the door and says, "Hey, we're scrapping all you guys' fucking ideas you worked hard for all year." I don't think he is, but
But I think that there was some erasing going on and restructuring some timelines and storylines. And once this Cena thing is all done, there's such a great young roster coming up. And I've been watching LFG, and I really like some of those guys on there.
I love seeing Bubba just blow up.
Oh,
with
he
these
just
kids.
blows up. God, he's so old school and like, you show me respect, but I don't have to show you shit.
Yeah, that shit will never doesn't fly anymore. Trust me, I know.
But I mean, you can see that they're softies. But you know what I love about that is that like one of the guys, it's Maxine's husband or boyfriend. He's from Roseville. I looked it up. I actually covered a game that he played in. He was a linebacker at Wood Creek High School in Roseville, and then you got the other guy from Vacaville that's in there. And then who's the toothless guy? He's got such a his original name is Thunder Keck.
Damn,
He played football at Stanford.
Damn, I don't know. I know what you talk about. I just don't know his damn name.
Zach Bucky, who went to Garces and plays for Stanford right now. I asked him, I was like, was he still on the team? He's like, oh yeah. And he goes, and that is one of the smartest dudes I've ever met in my life. And he's got, he's got that long hair and he's missing a tooth.
Yeah.
He plays this guy, but like Zach's like, that's one of the smartest dudes I've ever met. And when you're talking about a dude that played football at Stanford, you know that there's something there.
Definitely.
So getting really great. I'm really enjoying watching that stuff. Stephanie Places, she's not great, but I like the content.
Yeah,
and then listen
man.
to CVV.
I love
his
CVV,
interviews and all that stuff, and they ask CVV and really kind of getting that insight. Really kind of, I've really dialed into this, and I really love it.
I love seeing it, man. I think it's one of my passions in life. It's not a hit. It's a hidden. No, dude.
No.
I have no. Hey, I'm a wrestling fan. I'm a mark. I try to watch it all. Some stuff I don't give a damn about, and I'll still watch it because it's wrestling, you know.
I'm turning notifications on my phone on the 10th off because I have to go to a wedding in Fresno during Backlash.
Oh, no, there's gonna be no.
And it's Norton. It's Randy Orton and Cena that night, and I'm gonna have to watch it at midnight.
I would love seeing Randy Orton's game. It's one of those guys too. Like he's 46, 47 years old, and he's doing some of his best work.
Yeah, AJ Styles.
He's 48,
dude, and he's like, I'm done when I'm 50. So guys,
I remember
if
watching
you love
AJ.
AJ Styles, you got 2 more years left.
I remember watching AJ with TNA, NWA TNA at the time. Dude, the shit he was doing back then. Samoa
He's
Joe
so
is one of my
acrobatic.
guys too, man. So many guys from back in the day.
Samoa Joe is main eventing AEW, isn't he? That day?
dude.
Yeah.
We got one day we'll get you back on your show. We'll watch one of these old school matches, bro. Like some Bruiser Brody.
That's
shit.
what we should have done last summer. Is just live streamed me watching an old Mania for the first time.
That'd be cool.
And just go, what?
Yeah, you gotta watch this, man. Before we get out of here. There's a Bruiser Brody interview because he was Frank Gosh back in the day. He played for the Redskins. Him keeping kayfabe in the '70s and how people kind of like, oh no, this is fake. Like, no, dude, I get paid. No one tells me I lose. I have a bad night. I lose. I can't win them all. And I showed one of my friends is a professional wrestler. He's never seen it before. It's like, dude, you're doing such an injustice to yourself. Just see the past, like those guys in the '70s, the Freddie Blasties of the world. Bruce, he died in Puerto Rico. Got stabbed by another wrestler, shit like that.
Dude,
the tragic
that's
story,
right,
dude.
yeah.
Tragic story, dude. Bruiser Brody really kept that kayfabe alive, and that's what all these old timers. I'm sure they hate shows like unreal now, but.
But the thing is that we all know.
We know
we're
now.
all in an
Yeah,
age,
the
and
cat's at the bag, dude.
And there's so many other things. There's so many cell phones out there, so you catch. Like Tama Tonga, and it sucks that he's injured now. But like he's so funny on the side.
He's hilarious, bro.
So the guy. So this is funny. I don't know if you saw it, but when they were in Boston, Solo called a dude a bitch, a fan of bitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen that.
Said bitch was behind me, and he had Solo sign the photo that his wife had taken right after that happened, and Solo signed it for him. So I was like, no, I don't really, they can't. I don't remember anything. Like I got kids that come up to me like, hey, Trev, do you remember anything? And it's like, I got a bad memory.
Yeah,
like a lot of things go through this brain, and they don't hit a file cabinet.
I feel bad. I do that with my clients sometimes. I'm like, oh my god, I was your wedding DJ.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I was like fucking 6 years ago. You know how many clients I've seen since then?
I know.
It's
but
crazy, dude.
Like Solo's like, no, but like for that moment, for that guy who was from Boston, and it was kind of cool. It was him and his wife, and they had their son with them, and their son's at 29 Palms, and he came up and surprised him because he's active duty Marine down there. And he actually, mom and the kid, they surprised Dad by showing up.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Dad's actually got the Solo haircut and everything too. So he was totally into it. But a lot of fun, and they do such a great job. Like it really did take over Vegas. The different events that they had, and some of the things, and I know that I heard CVV talking about how Booker T was falling asleep during the Hall of Fame. Well, that's what happens when you put something on at 10 a.m.
Yeah, dude,
and they're going from 5 a.m. to
and it's almost 2:00 Eastern time. I was falling asleep on the couch.
But they did a smart thing. They said, we're in Vegas, and the shows are ending at 8 o'clock. We got to. How do you make more money? You do the Vegas thing, and you party till the wee hours of the night, and that's what they did. And that's why I'm saying, like, Solo that morning, maybe he would have remembered me, but he had no recollection of anything because the partying he did the night before.
It was nice to see Triple H. I love those type of speeches, man. I'm about to graduate pretty soon. I'm sure I'll give a Triple H like speech. The people who helped you out, man, to be who you are. Yeah. He has a fucking list of them. Like, let the man. You gotta let him do his thing. Like, I know it was long. But that's how long of a career he's had, dude.
Give him his flowers.
He's had
what he's doing right now.
He saved this WWE, dude.
He saved it because, like, from what I've been told, if I would have tried what I did last year, 6 years ago, it would have lasted 3 minutes, and I would have been annoyed.
They had Roman Reigns saying suffering succotash. Just doing trash. There was some good. There's always good with the bad. No matter who the book. Nobody books great shit all the time.
But I think the greatest thing that they've done is they've legitimized the women's division in WWE. Yeah. That they're not just divas, they're not just pretty girls, they're legitimate athletes that are putting on incredible cards. Because that 3-way match with Io Sky winning was probably the most technically sound match of Mania.
Hey, dude, Rhea Ripley's she's so young, dude. She had her first
27.
She was 22 going against Flair.
Yeah,
and it's like it was nice to see that. I was hoping this projection is not going to stop at 25 because history does that. They just fall off,
How about Tiffy and Flair just beating the living snot out of each other?
Beating the shit out of each other.
And you know what? And I wish I didn't, because we're on the side, we didn't see the 3 boxes.
Yeah.
But how cool was that?
No,
the 3 Barbie boxes.
Oh, did you? Tiffany's Stratton's.
That was so smart.
One of my favorites. I hate seeing them really giving each other receipts, though. It's supposed to be an art form and shit, right? It's not real, but man, they were going at it, bro. They were stiff. they were stiff, bro. I thought she knocked her tooth out at the end, but it was just a swollen lip. But
I think it was a little bit of the makeup that got on her tooth. But it did in the moment when she was walking off the stage, it looked like she had a broken tooth.
Oh yeah,
it was rad.
No,
but
man.
She came out Friday night with that big scar on her face too.
No, Charlotte could be stiff in there, bro. She knows she's.
Yeah.
No, she's no joke, bro.
It's not Bret Hart, man.
Oh my god, dude. No.
Didn't he always say that he never wanted to be felt in the ring?
He took pride in never hurting anybody, man. Yeah. And look what happened to him. He got hurt.
Best there was, best there is, best there ever will be.
His shit could be. You could put him in any era, dude. And he's gonna adapt and he'll shine. And that's a man. We'll talk about that another pod. This is the story of him. The last 5 years of his career, fucking gets a 20-year deal. Says, no, I can't pay that. Go somewhere else. Brother dies, and 6 months later, he gets kicked in the head and never could wrestle again. It's crazy, dude. Brett's he's one of my guilty pleasures. A lot of people, I know he wasn't the best promo, but
my buddy John,
I love his work rate.
He did a photo op with him.
Oh, I would
Friday.
love to.
Yeah, you
I
gotta
would
see
love
Bret
to.
Hart.
I would love to.
Wearing a Bret Hart shirt.
I would love to.
Wearing a Bret Hart Nintendo
That's
shirt.
hard. That's
Oh, it
hard.
was so sweet.
Trevor Horn.
Yes, sir.
This is episode 147. I'm glad you experienced the Mark life. Welcome to this world. We need more pods with more wrestling, more watch-along. That'll be cool to do watch-alongs. We have the capabilities to do it. And, bro, I'm glad you came on, and it really means a lot to
No, I
have
appreciate
a
you
guest,
having me
man.
on. We had talked about this. Did you want me to, come in to preview it? And you're like, no, come in to kind of recap it. And this is such a better idea because it was just so much fun for me. And I know it broke the bank, but it was a moment where that's a weekend I will never forget.
Never forget.
I walked in Monday morning because I left. So Monday I was planning on staying because my buddy owns a coffee shop there in Vegas, but he wasn't going to be at the shop on Monday. And then I found out after I got to Vegas how bad traffic can be coming back on Monday.
Yeah,
so I was like, all right, I'm done. So after Sunday night 2, I went back to the hotel and I fell asleep. And I think I was asleep by like 10. My alarm went off. I woke up before my alarm at 4:30 in the morning, and I was like, I'm out.
Yeah,
I gotta go.
You have
I gotta
to.
go
You have
because
to.
I didn't want to be on the road for 10 hours.
It's a damn commandment. Leave by 6.
My wife had gotten sick over the weekend, and I knew that I couldn't get home at 6 p.m. I need to get home as soon as possible. So I actually got in our driveway at like 8:45 in the morning after Vegas because I just, I blew through, and I walked in. I handed this to my son, and he was walking around with it. He was just like, yeah.
Oh, man.
It's still too big for him to go around his waist. As you guys can see, it's still a little big.
Such a beautiful belt, man.
But, I taught him how to shoulder it.
Oh, man. Such a beautiful belt.
Yeah, it was cool. And that was just a stadium find because like we were talking about before the show, WorldCon was so great, but they had things there that you wanted to buy, but it was astronomical there. And then like this shirt, you're not buying. I don't know if they have it on the website now, but like on the back of it says I was there.
Yeah,
and I bought this in the stadium. We actually found like right where our seats were. We actually found a merch spot that had no line. So right before night 1, John and Melissa had walked around and they texted me, and I didn't see it on my phone because I was just kind of, I don't know, taking in all the sights and sounds. Actually, I was actually talking to the usher because he wasn't a wrestling fan, and so we were just talking about a bunch of stuff and found out he was a Packers fan, so I started telling him Jordan Love stories because that's how I am. And then they came back to like, there's a merch line, go now, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, they had this and that and the T-shirt, and I was like, I'm just gonna buy everything now because when I tried to go into the line for the Superstore just to get in the Superstore, not from the WorldCon side, and it was. I waited for 45 minutes. And I said, I got to go because I had to leave. And then I just came back on Sunday. I looked around. This stuff's all cool, but you can find most of it on the website. Oh, yeah. There was some stuff, like some of the belts they had there. But, I mean, dude, you could spend $10,000 there and not even blink because of all the cool stuff they had there. Dude, the belts
are outrageous.
Well, and then, the fact that, you could stand in line and pay to do your favorite wrestler's intro coming down a ramp was really cool.
That's the ultimate
all the
fan
meet
experience.
And greets they had,
Yeah.
the Mattel, they had the Triple H experience in there. They had all the autograph sessions, all the signing ceremonies. Sunday morning, I didn't know Stone Cold was going to come out, but I stood 15 feet away from where he was doing his meet and greets, and I took a couple of photos of him right there because I thought that was only going to be the only time I was going to see Stone Cold. And then he comes out to announce the attendance, and I'm like, "Yep, this is legit, just like Heartbreak Kid did on Saturday."
Man. Dude, he's one of my. That's my guy. That's my guy.
It was just they brought back just enough of the old guard to keep the old heads happy, but they're ushering in.
There is a new
like having Ray Phoenix in a main event, his third match in WWE, and obviously it came on the heels of the groin injury for Rey Mysterio. But for him to be able to step up, and I guess he got the call that morning.
Yeah,
and it was like, yeah, I'm in.
Let's do it.
I mean, everybody's already there, obviously, because they're all doing signing ceremonies.
Oh yeah.
Even AEW and TNT had signing ceremonies.
They did.
Yeah,
of course they did. Yeah, it's Super Bowl. You got that's why all the independent shows.
There?
Yeah, that's the day.
Why was Tony Storm there?
Like everybody, dude. Yeah, everybody's gonna be there.
And then my favorite taco place in the world is right there, El Tacos El Gordo, which is from Tijuana. They're in San Diego, but they're right there.
Yeah. That's the spot.
Just that carne asada was fresh, and the guacamole on top of the Tijuana style. And it was just, I ate them at 10 o'clock in the morning. That was another thing that I just stumbled upon things. I do this. This is my life. So I knew where it was, and I had taken a cab up to the convention center. I was like, I'm just going to walk down there. And it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and they never turned off the open sign. So I was like, are they serving breakfast? Like, can I get a breakfast burrito? No, it was 9:54, and there was a line about 8 deep. And I'm like, well, they open in 8 minutes. I'm staying here in line. I'm eating tacos at 10 o'clock in the morning.
That's the one way to do in Vegas.
Yep, and I did it, and they were delicious, and it was just another little notch on a great weekend.
Man, there's nothing like WrestleMania weekend.
Nothing like WrestleMania.
SoFi was fun, but I wanted to go Vegas so bad.
So before we leave, that walk over Hacienda, and I don't know how you Raider fans do this every week, but it was just like night one, we were just in it, and we were just snail's pace, and then you get over that bridge, and it's just so electric to see 60,000 people, because it's like no other stadium in America, because there's no large parking lot at Allegiant, because everybody stays at the Strip or parks on the Strip and then Ubers in.
Damn.
And so you've got 10,000 people at the ride share, or you've got the other 50,000 people trying to are just walking over this one bridge. And that's why being at the Mandalay was just so great, because I could just break off. John and Melissa told me night one, it took them almost 2 hours to get back to Treasure Island. Damn. Because it was 60,000 new bodies on the Strip. And you're not just walking, you got to stop at the stoplights, all that kind of stuff. So I was able to just go in, but just to walk this 6-lane bridge with just bodies all going in one direction.
See that? It looked hectic.
It was. We waited night 2. We waited like a half hour after the show was over. Like I have a photo of when we were walking out. The stage is gone.
Damn.
It's already ripped out by the time we left, and we still. It was a steady pace, but we were still in a gaggle.
Yeah, dude, 60,000 people. It's
and then, and the post show was there with Paul and Big E and Joe Tessitore.
And Rosenberg too, right? No, maybe not Rosenberg.
Isn't his first name Paul?
Oh yeah,
Paul
duh. I think Peter Rosenberg.
It is Peter.
Okay, I was saying
Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Yeah. Same shit. No, dude, nothing like it, man. No, I'm glad you got to experience that.
That was the thing that night too, because I left underwhelmed. I went back and watched the main event, the Rhodes, seeing the main event, because for some reason Peacock wouldn't let me rewind all the way to the beginning of it. But it allowed me to rewatch it that night in the hotel room, and I rewatched it while I was eating in the room, and I just went, that hit. It hit. It just hit in a certain way that you needed to know how it hit.
Yeah, definitely.
And the Travis Scott thing, it still mattered.
Yeah,
it did. It was clunky.
Yeah, it was very clunky.
It needed to be clunky because it told the story of Cena ruining wrestling.
It was just that walkout. That was it. Everything else was fine, honestly.
Yeah, it really was.
It was just the walkout.
Like, Cody was able to get him back with
his Crossroads,
Yeah, with the Crossroads.
I was hoping you'd give him a receipt, give him that, because he broke his damn eardrum the last time he punched the shit out of him.
And then he blames it on The Rock.
God, dude, yeah, I wish that would. But he'll get one. I'm sure he'll be back. I'm almost certain he'll be back.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it, and I'll never forget it. And people always talk about, I could go to 15 WrestleManias. There's going to be 2 WrestleManias that are going to be the tops for me, and it has nothing to do with cards. And it's the first one. It's going to be the first one I take my son to. That's about 6 years away.
I remember my first house
I'm not
show.
spending that amount of money for a seat for him to not remember it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's got to be completely invested in it. And once we get to that point and he understands that it's not real, that it's scripted, like it's a TV show, and they're not really fighting, they're not really hurting each other, and it's just allow the entertainment structure to take over and be that catalyst for you, that's when I'll take him. And that's the WrestleMania that I'll remember, along with what I just saw last weekend.
I'm glad, man, dude. He'll never forget his first house show, his first Mania. I don't forget any of that shit, dude. I remember my dad took me to. Actually, my Theo took me to that first house show. It was just a house show. I had no idea what a house show was, but seeing Mankind, Stone Cold, it was beautiful, dude.
I'm more interested in seeing more independent shows like what I saw last Friday, because those are the guys that are trying, and I want to be able to say, I saw them.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, when you guys talk about seeing Penta for the first time, my buddy John talks about house shows back in like 2002 when he saw CM Punk. Like, these are the things I want to see.
The build-up, man.
The build-up.
The journey. The journey's always...
Yeah, when they come in, because, for us random fans like me, We only see them when they're in WWE, and I'm like, man, they didn't make it to WWE till 35. That's the other thing about the pro wrestling is that there's so many different, especially with the New Japan faction going on and that whole thing going on. There's so many different areas for them to get working. But I love what WWE is doing with the ID program and with NXT and all this stuff and the Performance Center and how they're giving these NIL deals to these collegiate athletes. It's just so smart. Yeah, because why not get the top athletes?
And see what you can make out of it.
There's a local former prep star here that's still a collegiate athlete at a prominent university that I know that I'm trying to get her to buy into it. She doesn't think she has the personality, but she's got the build and she's got everything for it. I don't want to call her out.
They could develop that.
I don't want to call her out, and because this is a personal thing that I'm trying to get her on. But I will say this: the Smith twins that played football at Garza that are both, and Juju's now at Hawaii. I think that they would be great. They could be the next Uso brothers because they've got the personality and the physical attributes. I think now I look at this and I go, if you still want to be an athlete after you're professional, whatever it is that you played growing up,
once
it's done and you still have that competitive edge, look at pro wrestling.
It's a journey. It's not an easy gig either, but no, they could mold you. They could bring you up.
It's not for everybody, but it's a lot.
I had a friend of mine. I told him, like, bro, I'll pay for your wrestling school. We'll just try it out. I had a friend actually went to Cody Rhodes' wrestling school too. It's pretty cool. Shit. No, I think it's pretty cool.
Tight.
The Rose Academy. No, it's cool, man. I love it.
Did we just go 90 minutes?
We did, man.
It's almost 11 o'clock.
I know. I got this gig in a little bit too.
Yep, we got a jam.
Go to Bakes for Pal, man. Go see these boxers. Go visit Trevor Horn's page.
Yeah, come find us on for next Friday.
Next Friday we'll be out there. 147 Horn Hive. Thanks for coming by to Keep Grinding the podcast. His wrestling journey. We're Marks.
Hey,
I'm glad he's in the Mark Live.
This dude right here is the ultimate grinder in Bakersfield. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, bro.
What you were when I met you 11 years ago to what you are now. It's such an incredible story. I'm so proud of you, Ernie.
You,
bro. What you're doing in the DJ department, what you've been doing with this podcast for the last 10 years, your photography, coaching.
Thank you, bro.
I mean, to the vending machines. I mean, you are the ultimate grinder.
I live it, bro.
I'm so happy to call you my friend.
And this is just the beginning, hopefully. I got so much more I want to do, and it's a journey. Let's keep doing it, man.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad. Hey, man, I appreciate your friendship, and let's keep this Mark life going.
Hey, here we are. It ain't ending.
Episode 147, Keep Grinding the podcast, and we out.